Rockin' Pod Weekend.
Yeah!
We're here! Finally. 1, 2, 3, 4. All in the same room.
76 episodes.
76
Never been in
episodes.
the same room.
It-
It's been like Grinder.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Wow.
It is the Metal Summit. Thank you so much for tuning in with us. And we've got this guy right here, Gregg Bissonette.
Thank you.
He hits harder than me.
Nobody hits harder than you.
Oh,
exactly.
Bad Bobby. We just started Rockin' Pod. Bad Bobby.
Oh, God.
Well, first and foremost, Greg, how are you, brother?
I'm doing great. I had
Thank
a great,
you, man.
Had a great flight
Thank you,
in
sir.
from Los Angeles. Thank you, guys.
Oh, very good.
Great to be here. I want to thank my great friend Thomas Bridge, who supports me on lots of these
Very
events
cool.
around the world. So thank you, Thomas.
Absolutely, man. So we'll just jump right into it. Let's talk a little bit about what you've got going on right now. You're here for Rockin' Pod Weekend to do interviews, to meet the fans, to have a little bit of a good time. But what have you got going on right
I'm
now?
going to have a lot of bit of a good time because tonight I get to play 3 of my favorite songs with one of my best friends and one of my favorite bass players, the bad Billy Sheehan.
Yeah.
We're going to do Get You Love. What? And then we're going to do Shy Boy. Then we're going to do Ain't Talking About Love.
Nice.
So how cool is that?
Yeah, dude, it's a little bit of Eat 'em and Smile
A little bit of
action
Eat 'em
there
and
with you and
Smile.
Billy.
Man, I love Billy. We just had a really fun hang at Steve Vai's house last week because Steve got a pizza oven and we made pizza. in the
Nice.
pizza oven. So it was kind of a fun little reunion there. And Steve and Pia, his wife, and Billy and I, we had a ball. And now we're gonna play some music tonight. So is that in this hotel?
I believe.
No. It's in the Mercy Lounge.
Mercy Lounge.
Oh, on Main
Mercy,
Street.
Mercy, Mercy.
So we have the Grand Prix, the inaugural Grand Prix going on in Nashville this weekend, as long as with Rockin' Pod bachelor party. It is going to be a blank circus tonight.
Holy cow. And there's also a drum clinic. I've been getting all these emails about some kind of a Music City drum festival today.
There's everything going on. Gibson just opened the Gibson Garage. I'm doing stuff over there. It's just crazy. Everybody in there is.
Henry Jeskowitz still own Gibson?
No, it's
Dave
J.
Barrett?
It's JC. James Curley. James was the president of Levi Strauss.
Wow.
Great guy. Took over the company. He, Mark, L. John Go.
We know who wears the pants in the company.
Oh, we know that too. You know, and it's like
Yep, that's
hey, between me and my Levi's, but Jay.
Oh, exactly, dude, for sure. But actually, on that note, let's bring in the one guy who's not wearing pants today.
Oh my lord, he's
Hello.
And why do you have my pink chucks on?
Hi.
What's that?
Because you were thinking, how many outfits in
a lot of, in the
DLR?
80s, in the
Yeah.
80s, pink was very manly, and it's
Absolutely.
back again.
Yeah, pink's the new black.
Got my
So,
chucks on, and I'm sailing around. Kiss myself, so pretty.
There you
And you
go.
guys are rockers.
Of
You know
course.
that song?
Oh,
yeah.
Who is that? Who is that?
Bruno Mars.
Okay.
I said it first.
Gotta make sure that
I
the
knew that.
rockers.
Oh, we love
How
Bruno.
about Bruno and Anderson .Paak's new song, Skate?
Skate.
I haven't heard it yet.
Pretty cool song.
How about jumping a little bit, drummers? How about who took over for Charlie? Gotta give him
Jordan.
gotta give Steve a big
One
clap
of my
out
dear
on that.
friends, and what a great drummer. And I just prayed for Charlie's recovery. I
Yes.
don't know what he
Yes.
did or had or whatever, but I'm hoping he's good. Charlie Watts.
But go ahead,
So,
Psycho.
yeah, let's kick it back
Introduce.
over.
Come on,
Okay,
kick it.
so you come from rock royalty because of your brother. So, instrument-wise, was drum your first instrument?
Drumming was my first instrument. My dad was a drummer. My mom played jazz vibes in my dad's band. My brother, of course, started on bass, and he didn't really know what a bass was. But my parents said, it would be great if you played bass because your brother's a drummer. He goes, yeah, sounds good. So my mom, in a cold Detroit night, she threw him the keys because she just come back from Farmer Jack's. That was like our Piggly Wiggly or whatever you had. Or Ralph's in L.A. She threw him the keys to the car. The groceries were in the trunk. He opens the trunk. There's a bass and an amp. It was like this Eric bass and this Jordan amp, like 1970s something, 71.
Jordan amps.
Remember Jordan?
Yeah.
And Eric and a chord.
Basses are my area of expertise. I
Come
know.
on. So we carry it down in the basement, and he looks at it, he goes, wow, and he starts doing this. He goes, I go, no, this is a bass. So you play it like boom, 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 or Billy Sheehan. Boom, 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 boom. So anyway, he goes, you don't strum it like this? I go, no. And there was no Billy Sheehan, Tallis or David Lee Roth, Eat 'em and Smile then. So I said, I got a song for you, man. We can jam. And we jammed for hours. And I went, and I taught him the bass line to on the E string. Ba 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 smoke ba ba smoke out the water. So that was the beginning, yeah.
Awesome.
Right on, man.
So this isn't just a podcast, it's kind of a video podcast.
Yeah, it's
Well,
called
ours
webcast.
is, we do a
Yeah.
weekly streaming show.
Weekly?
Yep.
Yes.
Weekly, every from
Like weekly.
nine weekly, from I'm from Philly. Yo, hey,
Yo,
water,
Philly.
yeah.
Hey,
But it's
Pat's cheesesteak.
oh,
Geno's or Pat's?
Geno's or Pat's?
Yeah.
Velveeta or cheddar?
Whiz.
Crazy
Whiz.
things, they're both owned by the same
without,
people.
yeah,
Whiz
but,
or without?
yeah, every week 9 to 11. Great. We've had everybody on. Mr. Doug Pinnick. You know,
Doug Pinnick.
we love Dougie.
I love Doug Pinnick and I love King's X, Ty Tabor, and
Oh.
Jerry Gasco. Here's to King's X, man.
Absolutely,
There's a
man.
new documentary coming out.
Yeah.
Very
Yes.
cool. New album coming out. I just talked to Doug
Yeah,
yesterday.
they're watching them record that, and I'm in the documentary talking about how much my brother Matt and I, we started a band called the Mustard Seeds with Nashvilleian Doug Bossy and George Bernhardt on guitar, and we wanted to be like King's X. And they actually were driving down the tour bus and passed the Troubadour, and they went, the Mustard Seeds. That's that new band that Greg and Matt and Doug and George have. And they pull in with the bus, and there's Doug, and I go, Doug, give us a little slack here, because we're about to start the set. Thanks for coming, but we try to sound a lot like you guys. And he goes, "That's awesome. I hope you saw more records than we did." That's the kind of blessing we have.
Wow, but
We
also
just
we
saw a
also
lot of
had
records, but he was
we
giving
also
us
had your brother Steve on the show too.
Steve Lukather.
Yes,
Yeah.
we had him on our
He
show.
loves King's X too. When I got to play in Toto, we drove all around England in a double-decker bus, and to Mike Porcaro and Steve Lukather, I'm playing all these King's X songs. Doug meant, we hope you sell more records than that. They sell a lot of records, but he was just giving us a blessing.
Oh, great.
Absolutely, 100%. Angel.
Angel.
Angel
Well,
almost.
I definitely got a good drummer question for you. Growing up, what drummers influenced you, and in your opinion, what makes a great drummer, and what advice do you give to young drummers out there?
Man, there's the long and the short, and I'll do the short first. Ringo Starr, Buddy Rich, okay?
Yes, of course.
So those were the two, and my dad, But I'll tell you, what makes a great drummer to me is someone that really has the knack for getting the right tempo and keeping the right tempo for the whole song. And someone with a swing, not just straight up and down, but someone like Ringo. Ringo could put that swing on songs that were straight 8 note. Let me take you down 1 and 2 straight 8 notes, but he's going bang. He's got that swing. John Bonham had that swing. There's another one of my heroes. Danny Serafin from Chicago, Bobby Colomby from Blood, Sweat and Tears, John Bonham, Mitch Mitchell, Stuart Copeland from the Police.
And then you got Porcaro.
Jeff Porcaro, talking about a swing, right?
Yeah.
We do Rosanna.
Purdy Shuffle. I mean,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, he got that, I
It's really
think,
coordinated.
mainly from John Bonham's Fool in the Rain. Rosanna. Anyway, we do that every night with Ringo, because Luke's playing. And we
Right.
do Rosanna, Hold the Line in Africa. Every night in the Ringo All-Star Band. So that's the most amazing.
So real quick, I'm going to interject right there. So my buddy, who we've had on the show, Mr. Mark Hudson, was Ringo's producer.
Mark got me the gig.
You're kidding.
Can I tell you the story?
I was supposed to be
hear the
with Mark
story.
tomorrow, but I'm good friends with he and Gary Burr, and
I
we've
love
had him on. Mark loves us, and he.
Give Mark a big hug for me. So
Hit
it's
us
that
with
rainbow
hit us with-
beard.
Hit us with that story,
Yeah,
dude.
yeah.
So it's about midnight in 2003, and my landline rings. 2003, the iPhone came out in
Yeah.
2005. So anyway, and it's Mark, and he goes, "Hey man, I'm sorry I haven't made it out to hear that cool Beatles tribute band that you've been telling me about, but I need you for a session for Steven Tyler's album." And I go, "Wow, great. I'll be there at like 10 in the morning. It's about a half hour, 45 minutes away." He goes, "We need you now." Bruce Sugar, my engineer, said, "You'd be the perfect guy to play on this Steven Tyler song." I said, "You need me now?" I said, "I'll be there at 9 in the morning." He goes, "If you get here right now, Ringo's drums are still set up in the studio because I finished his album I was producing. You can use them. I'll be right there." And I get there and I think, I'm not just going to do kick drum for 10 minutes, snare. And Bruce Sugar is such a great engineer. I thought, I'm just going to start playing Ringo.
Do that.
Which one is that? Oh, the end. No. Let's do it.
Drummers,
Ready? Come on. Go, 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 go. So I do that. I do this one. You guys can name them. It's more of a hard rock crowd.
Take it to Ryan.
Thank you. Okay, I do this one.
Oh, that's easy. Come together.
Okay, we're
See, I'm
getting
not
better
done.
here. It's getting better all the time. But John said, couldn't get much worse. Paul was the positive, John was the negative. So I do another one. I do this one. One hi-hat per bar. I also covered this song with Ozzy. Now we're getting into hard rock.
So when
Mark produced this.
Well, that's when he
The
did
covers album.
Undercovers.
No, but he did
There are places I Ringo. It's a little slower. Ozzy's version's a little slower.
In My Life.
In
Yeah.
My Life. Thank
When
you.
Ozzy did it, yeah.
Thank you.
Because Mark was working with Ozzy during that time
Mark
for
worked with
Dog the
everybody.
Bounty Hunter and
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
everything, and Celine.
Hi, Mark.
We
Love
love
you,
you.
buddy.
Love
Well,
you, Mark.
Mark will call you after this. Don't worry about it.
We
He's up
miss
at my
you.
house.
Love you, Mark. So then he said, hey, you really do love Ringo. I've heard that for years, that you've gone all around the world doing clinics, drum clinics, talking about how great Ringo is. And, you know, man, you just gave a little, you know, demo of how much you love Ringo, all those songs. We got the sounds. Let's get to see the Tyler song. By the way, if Ringo's son, Zach, who's in The Who, can't do this next promo tour with the other band, not Ringo and the All-Star, but Ringo and the Roundheads, when Ringo plays on all of his albums,
Yeah.
but needs a band to play on the Tonight Show and all this stuff, then you got the gig. I said, like that? I got the gig? He goes, yeah. Ringo will take my word for it. You're the guy. And by the way, does your brother, man, have a Hoffner? And I said, does Dolly Parton sleep on her back?
Oh,
Meaning,
for the
yes.
bump.
Yes. I think she can't sleep on her stomach. We're in Nashville. Did I say that?
Yeah.
I did.
What?
I hope
What?
so.
Dolly. Life is like a
love you,
butterfly.
It's for my mom.
Bring him out. I love Dolly. It's a bad joke. It's boomer
No,
humor.
and it
Boomer humor.
Boo.
Anyway, we did the Ringo and the
I like
Roundheads.
Cool's humor.
We did Ringo and the Roundheads in 2003 till 2005, and then in 2008, Ringo invited me to join the All-Star Bands.
That. Man, talk about a freaking 6 degrees of
Yeah,
separation.
seriously. It's like, oh, I'll totally be there in the morning. Yeah, but if you can get here now, you get to play Ringo's drums. I'll be there in 5 minutes.
And we played down the street at the Ryman.
Wow.
We're gonna play again next year.
So, interject right now. Mark's out on the road with T, Gary Burr, and another friend of
Say
mine.
hi to Gary for me. too.
Yeah, Gary's, well, they're all up in PA. They're playing the New Hope Winery tomorrow night, so go check them out. They are doing Laurel Canyon, which is Crosby, Stills, and Nash, but they do every incarnation of that. They go through the birds and everything that breaks up.
For the birds.
For the birds.
For the
It's
birds.
all for the birds.
For the birds.
But now we got to bring this guy.
Come on.
Come on, our
Let's go.
vampire.
Can't
Our,
forget.
you know, and I thought I sucked.
Oh, well, the fact of the matter is somebody has to teach you a thing or two.
You got your tongue pierced.
Do you know? Exactly. Chris Rock said it best, dude.
Kids.
I know where you're going
Once
with
you
that.
go black,
Exactly,
you
it does,
I
for
don't-
sure.
Okay.
No,
Chris is
absolutely.
Jewish.
So, let's wind it a little bit back to how we started the interview with our good friend Billy Sheehan back in the house. Let's talk a little bit about Eat 'em and Smile. How exactly that came to be with you, Billy, and David.
Well,
And Steve. Don't
and
forget
Steve.
Steve.
Right.
Of course.
So-
I got you, dude.
So basically, it was 1985, and I really, really wanted to play some hard rock. You know, I wanted to be, because my roots in Detroit, you know, Grand Funk, not that that's super hard rock.
Oh, yeah,
I just
we love Mark
love
Farner.
rock.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Old Van
It's good.
Halen for me, that's like my Beatles, and then Old Van Halen, and then Led Zeppelin. So I'm just the hugest Dave fan, and Alex and Eddie and Michael Anthony. And I'm going, man, I want to play in a band like Van Halen, right? And I would pray. I'm a big prayer guy. I'm a Christian. And I'm going,
Cool.
God, help me get a gig like Van Halen, right? Well, thank you, God. Dave leaves Van Halen. I get the gig with him. So what happened is Myron Grombacher from Pat Benatar's band, one of my best friends, great drummer, he goes, I'm going to help you find a rock. Wow, okay, Myron, what's the plan? He goes, well, I'm recommending you for a few auditions. And one of them is Vinnie Vincent from Kiss. He's starting a new band. He's going to call it the Vinnie Vincent Invasion. I want you to go and audition for him. It'll be a lot of fun. So I show up, there's drums there, and Vinnie Vincent goes, bro, you were a friend of Myron's. I didn't want to tell you this. Yeah, I wanted to hear you play and hang out, but I already hired a drummer. This guy.
Bobby Rock.
Bobby Rock.
My buddy,
And
you
Robert
did my
Fleischman,
album.
right?
Yeah.
Fleischman, yeah.
Yeah.
And the bass player.
Dana Strong.
Dana.
Dana Strong. So I already hired this guy from Houston. He drove out in his Winnebago from Houston, and he knows all the songs. How can I compete with that? But you'd be great for Dave Roth's band. And I said, who's Dave Roth? He goes, David Lee Roth. I said, David Lee Roth's in Van Halen. He goes, no, bro. He just quit, and he got Billy Sheehan from Talus, the VH opening act. He got Billy, and they just got Steve Vai, and they're looking for a drummer. Here's Steve Vai's sister's number, Pam. Give her a call. She's helping set up the auditions, but they're not calling it, in the LA Weekly, like the national scene. They're not calling it David Lee Roth looking for a drummer. It'd be a zoo. It was a zoo anyway. They said, Steve Vai's auditioning drummers. Call this number. So I called Steve's sister, and she says, hey, it's Steve's sister, Pam. It's nice of me to recommend you. Show up at SIR, Studio Instrument
Yep.
Rentals, on Sunset. And I show up, and there's this line down the block, and I'm going, you gotta be kidding me. How am I going to? And I'm like fifth in line. The first guy that walks out is my brother Matt's friend, whose name is also Matt. They used to play. Did you ever see Pee Wee's Big Adventure?
Yes. Of course.
Who was Pee Wee's girlfriend?
Oh, it was, well, in the movie,
In the movie.
it was Dottie.
Very good. Daddy, my bike. They stole my bike. There's no basement.
I'm a loner.
Yeah, I'm a loner. My brother's playing with this drummer named Matt in E.G. Daly's band, Dottie, right? And he comes walking out. I go, Matt Sora. Hey, Greg, how's it going, man? He's from Sacramento. Kind of talks like this, man. I go, how did it go in there? And he goes, oh, man. They wanted me to remember all this stuff. And Steve Vai's throwing all these Zappa kind of, I don't know how I did. And I had a Sharpie in my back pocket. And I had a drum that my roommate, Mark Cranny from Brother to Brother, Chino Vanelli and Jethro Tull had loaned me. And it has a white Remo head. I go, I can write these things out. And then the next guy walks up, and it's my college buddy from North Texas State, Russ McKinnon. And I go, Russ, how'd it go? He goes, man, they said, he kind of talks like he's from Tulsa a little bit. He said, man, they didn't, not really, but he goes, man, they told me I didn't hit hard enough. Hit hard. So anyway, I go in there, and there's Billy, and there's Steve, and I'm from Detroit, and I'm kind of a people person.
Yeah.
I like talking, I like people. I go, Billy, man, Talus, you are so great. I can't wait to jam with you. And he said later, that was cool, because a lot of people just, why are these drums all in a mess? I put the drums together, it was a double-bass kit. And then I said, Steve, man, I love your work with Zappa, I love the Flexible album. Saw you in your band at the Club Lingerie, a couple blocks from here last month. He's like, cool. He said later also, it was cool that you just talked to us. We're not just two guys sitting there like a classroom. So they go, well, play a solo. Cool. So of course, what do I start off with? Because I know that we're going to go on the road with Dave.
You gotta do Hot for
You
Teacher.
got to do Hot for Teacher. So I do that, and then they go, okay, cool. So you know Hot for Teacher. I go, I love Hot for Teacher. Come on.
Still my favorite Van Halen song.
Yeah, me too. I think. Well,
My favorite fantasy.
Unchained is really, really good.
Well,
but
Panama shot in
Pan-
Philadelphia.
Yeah. Oh, really?
Yeah.
On the
At the Spectrum.
That's a great place. We run to the Rockies edge. So with your pads or your Gino.
Yeah.
So
All by the
anyway.
same people, by the way.
Oh, really?
Really,
It's the same person?
Same people.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
Unless you want to get into an argument.
Uh,
They wouldn't.
So then Steve Vai says, okay, so man, we got like some songs already written, and we've been rehearsing for a month. I go, so who's the drummer? He goes, well, it's my drummer, Chris Frazier, who's a badass drummer. I said, what? How come he's not staying? He goes, Dave just wants somebody that's not like my drummer. He wants somebody else that's like. Anyway, I said, do you have any? So I'm writing these little things down. You know the song Hot Dog and a Shake?
Oh, yeah.
They had already written that, and so Steve's going, and I know those are like what that rhythm is, so I write it out, and then he goes, now play a little groove for me while I solo, and he goes, I want you to play, I'm gonna solo over that.
Space. Give
So-
them space.
Yeah, so Billy and I play that rhythm, and I'm writing it out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. He goes, man, you can transcribe rhythms. where'd you learn that? I said, on North Texas State. He said, I went to Berkeley. I said, I know you went to Berkeley. You transcribed the Black Page, man, for Zappa. He goes, they both said, you got my vote. We're going to tell Dave that we think you're the guy. You are? Man. So the next day, I go to Dave's house, and I asked Steve, I said, man, have you been rehearsing? Do you have some like cassettes, this 85 cassettes of, like, of the rehearsals? He goes, yeah, I have all the songs. I said, can I drive to your house and pick them up? I promise I'll take care of them, give them back to you. He goes, sure. So I go home, I spend the whole night writing little cue sheets, the forms.
Yeah.
So we're playing them. Billy and Steve and I are playing them down in Dave's basement. About a half hour, Dave comes down. He says, how did you learn all those songs? They just, discovered you yesterday, like a Christopher Columbus or something. So I said, well, Steve gave me some cassettes, and I just kind of wrote out charts. He goes, you read music, man? I said, yeah. Where'd you learn to do that? I said, North Texas State. And then he goes, who was your last gig? And I thought, this is going to blow it, because it's a big band jazz thing,
Yeah.
Maynard Ferguson. And he goes, Dave knows who it is. He goes, Maynard Ferguson, the big band lead trumpet player.
There.
That covered Herbie Hancock's Chameleon and theme from Rocky's
Yep.
Lincoln of Philly. I go, yeah. And he goes, man, we're going to do a cover of Frank Sinatra's That's Life. That's big band. So you can cover that stuff and power that big band. You can power the four of us. Payday starts Friday. Let's go get some Mex food.
And just like that, he's gone.
Yeah, so that was the story on that.
That's
Wow.
awesome. Well,
Sorry,
Greg, we
that's
got to
a long
jump in
story.
because we have been red lit. So thank you guys so much for tuning in. The fact of the matter is, Greg, this was fantastic.
Thank
We'd
you
love
so
to have
much.
you on for a full-on episode if you're down
Yes.
for it, man.
Let's
Yes.
go.
Well, Paul,
Yeah, absolutely. And this is exactly why the Metal Summit is so great. Is because only on our show are you going to be able to go from Ringo Starr to David Lee Roth to Pee Wee Herman.
Yep.
Thank you guys so much for tuning in. We'll see you guys soon. You've been watching the Metal Summit.
Yeah.